On the day Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated construction of Ram Temple at Ayodhya, the Liberals said brought in the secularism debate. In an editorial, the Hindustan Times called for making Ayodhya a site for secularism. Noted Liberal thinker Pratap Bhanu Mehta went so far as to disown the Ram Temple in an op-ed in the Indian Express, calling it a violent revenge. The question is, are those who still see in the Ram Temple a BJP ploy to further its Hindu politics willing to have an honest appraisal of what secularism really means in the changed Indian polity, indeed in the midst of global political currents on politics of religion? We saw how the Hagia Sophia Museum, Hagia Sophia in Turkish, was changed back into a mosque last week. It was a church for a millennium from the 6th to 15th century before the Ottomans turned it into a mosque to mark their victory over the Roman Empire. Kemal Atatürk converted it into a museum as part of his secular modernism in 1918. Before Erdogan, the present Turkish strongman converted it back to a mosque by an executive fiat. No contest, no courts, nothing. In contrast, the Ram Temple is a culmination of almost 500 years of contest that finally got adjudicated by the topmost court of the country within the framework of India's constitution in November 2019. It is a matter of record that the first attempt to reclaim the site was made by the Bairagi sect in 1713, within 10 years of the death of Aurangzeb, the last great Mughal. Ayodhya is as Hindu as Vatican is Christian or Mecca is Muslim. Just because Hinduism is not a one God, one book, one prophet religion, it does not take away from the centrality of Ayodhya to the faithful of the Hindu fold. It cannot be secular for the same reason that Vatican or Mecca cannot. Despite this, using extraordinary powers, the Supreme Court has given acceptable remedies to all sides, including land for a mosque, which at 5 acres would be 8 times the area on which Babri stood, and twice the size of Delhi's Jama Masjid. The unanimous Ayodhya verdict goes on to underscore that secularism is one of the basic features of the Constitution, and thus, as per the Keswanand Bharati case, beyond amendment and removal from the Constitution. In addition, by sanctifying the Places of Worship Act 1991, the Supreme Court has offset the possibility of any political movement picking up around places like Mathura and Kashi. The Act prohibits any change in the nature of a religious structure as it stood on August 15, 1947. To quote from the judgment, "The law speaks to our history and to the future of the nation. Cognizant as we are of our history and of the need for the nation to confront it, independence was a watershed moment to heal the wounds of the past." This provides us an opportunity to reboot the secularism debate. The Constituent Assembly of India that framed the Constitution had debated inclusion of secularism thrice between November 15 and December 6, 1948, rejecting it each time. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru sat through the debates, and Law Minister Baba Saheb Ambedkar actually made a statement of veto, responding to an amendment moved by member K.T. Shah, who had wanted words secular and socialist included in the preamble. The word was surreptitiously included in the Constitution through the 42nd Amendment in 1976 during emergency under Indira Gandhi, without any debate in Parliament, thus denying the nation any opportunity to deliberate its form best suited for India. The 70-year-old edifice of Nehruvian secularism came undone as recently as the CAA-NRC debate. The singular lack of empathy that the CAA protesters showed towards the tortured and humiliated Hindu and Sikh minorities in Pakistan and Afghanistan was symptomatic of that failed experiment. Ambedkar quit the Nehru cabinet over the issue of half-baked Hindu code bills, the civil law reforms that excluded all other communities. There are other provisions in the Constitution which, in the name of minority rights, foster a sense of separateness, if not outright separatism. This has obstructed the forming of a collective national identity which otherwise would have acted as a glue against the centripetal forces that India's diversity often generates. If the Ayodhya issue can be considered a closed chapter for Indian politics, it is time we move to a more positive, religion-neutral citizenry construct. like some form of a uniform civil code. Goa provides a template. My guess is, more than the minorities, it would be difficult to convince the great majority of Hindu right. With triple talaq gone and the polygamy not exactly a rampant practice, it is over issues like the benefits of Hindu undivided family that the battle would be fought. Prime Minister Modi, in his address from Ayodhya, projected Ram more as a cultural icon with universal acceptability, including in Muslim-majority Indonesia. He went on to add that equality of citizens was integral to the conception of Ram Raj, which even Mahatma Gandhi endorsed. Since he was speaking at a purely religious function, the imagery was apt, but might make purists of secularism uncomfortable. For that reason alone, perhaps, uniform civil code might be an idea whose time has come. Thanks for watching.